There we go. That's the mechanism. So finally, we are back at the TEF20. Now I have to apologise because it's been quite a while since we got at this, and that's just purely down to me been too busy. A very busy time on the farm now, but we are getting a little bit more free time, a tiny little bit more free time, and we're going to get this running. That's it, we are going to get this running. So today I finally get to do a video that I've actually always wanted to do since I started YouTube, because you see this particular title on a lot of videos now throughout YouTube, and that is, of course, will it start? Yeah, will it start? Well, your guess is as good as mine, because I literally only had to push this out for the first time in months, and I've never had this tractor started. I did see it run the day I went to buy it, although it run very badly. I did see it run, so I know the tractor can run. I'm going to plough into it now, just get straight into it. What have we done so far? Well, oil has all been changed. New filter down there for the oil. Diesel filters have been changed, brand new filters in there. We've done the brakes in the back, completely overhauled the brakes. We've put a new radiator into it, new thermostat housing. We've a new battery cover. We've a new air breather on here as well. We have taken out the oil out of the air bath and we have replaced it. We've changed all the linkages on the steering, which has left the steering lovely and solid now. Nice feel on the steering. And we also put a new PTO seal in there, so hopefully no more oil is coming out of that. I have to put oil in the back end of this tractor yet as well, so I'll be doing that now shortly too. The tractor, yes, is covered in dust, absolutely covered. That's the joys of it sitting in a shed. You can see the way stuff blows in just from the yard and things, and it always gets covered. Another thing we have fitted was an auxiliary tank. It took a long time to find one of those that were in stock, but I managed to get one and I fitted it as well. And we have hooked up our line into our fuel tank. Now that wasn't on the tractor when we bought it, it was bypassed, and I have the rest of the bits and pieces to put on yet, which are sitting here behind me. We'll get to that in a second, but I'm not sure if it's going to work or not, because we'll just have to see. You can see the way the old tap, this is the bypass system, is here, and I might have to hook that up again for now just to get the tractor to run. We'll have to see, because this could be awkward, and if it does give me trouble or starts to leak or whatever, I'll just bypass it again just to get the tractor running. But we'll have a go at it now first and see where we get on. So that's the first job in hand. Let's get at it. I put up a post on Instagram because there was a part that I could not get, and it's on this auxiliary tank here. Do you see that guy there? That little connection? So basically the fuel line that goes from here, this is it actually here, connects there, comes across and goes on there. Problem I had is there's a Banjo Bolt that goes in there, and I could not for the life of me find that Banjo Bolt. No matter where I looked, it was out of stock everywhere. So I put a post up on Instagram because I really was stuck. Is there anybody out there who would have one, might have one second hand, or know where I could pick one up? And straight away I got a message. We got several messages, but I got a message from one guy. He says, Adrian, I have one here. I have the one that you're looking for. He says, I'll post it to you. So I said, that is absolutely brilliant. I give him my details and I said, whatever you have to get, let me know and I'll send it to you. And he wouldn't take anything for it. He was just a real gentleman. He wouldn't take anything for it. He even suggested if you wanted anything in the shop or merchandise or whatever, just let me know, pick whatever it is and I'll send it to you, because anybody who does you a good turn always deserves a good turn back. But he wouldn't do it. So what I'm going to do instead is, I looked at his Instagram page. He seems to do metalwork fabrication and stuff. It's called D-Fab. If you guys go over and see something you like there, and if that helps him and hopefully returns the favour for what he done for me, then it's worth doing. But it was really nice to get this, and thanks to everybody who did give us loads of information on where we could get one. But he was the first man on the ball, and I really appreciated getting it. So hopefully put some hot washers on it, we can get one that fits nicely. That's a good fit right there. And then another one on here to finish it off. That seems to be that on. Just reckon I'm going to need to use a different washer. Maybe use the felt washers instead. because I don't know, I just have this sneaky suspicion that that's going to leak. The next thing we're going to do is fit this guy here. So I added this adapter. You need that to fit this new brass tap that I got here. This here goes up into the reserve tank. Copper washer here, copper washer there. Let's make sure to get on the right threads. That's it. There she goes. Right, that's our tap on. And it's clear in there when I open and close. It's not hitting again anything. Next thing I can do now is hook up our pipe. The thing you have to be really careful as well is you don't strip the threads, you don't over tighten. That is fine. So we're at the best part and the most favourable part everybody likes about working on these vintage tractors, and that's the electrics. Said no man ever. But anyway, what we're doing at the minute is I have the negative hooked up, which I'm going to air to the chassis now in a few minutes. Going to clean that up, and if the positive already ran and coming out here, and it's coming through there, and that's already onto the starter. So I have that already pre-done and ready to go, but I need to get a bit of conduit and run it over that wire just to protect it, especially when it's going up here. It's not rubbing against it at the minute, but it could wear through with vibrations and stuff on the tractor. So I'm going to get some conduit and put it over that wire completely when it's done, and that way it'll keep that nice and safe. Somewhere along this area I'm going to make a bracket that'll hold a kill switch that I can turn on off the power to the tractor when it's not being used. Just turn it off completely and just cut the power to it. So I will put a kill switch somewhere along here. Originally you would have had two 6-volt batteries on both sides, which would have give you 12 volts. Now most people like what I'm doing here now is just running a 12-volt battery on one side. The bracket, it was missing from the far side anyway, so there was no point in going back to that way. So another thing is, some people would run the positive to the chassis and run the negative to the starter. It's not something I really wanted to do. I want to just do it the traditional way with having air to the chassis and positive to the starter. So that's the way we're going to do it. Let's get at it. Right, see how much of this we need. There's a plug in here, a frost plug on the far side, and it's just in here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but this one in here, them two frost plugs, well, this one on this side, which is relatively new, is leaking. And the reason it's leaking is it wasn't put in right. There's an awkward angle, but I might be able to pry it in. It's just not sitting in right, and that's why it's leaking. So we'll have a look at it, but it's only a small drop every now and again, so I can fill it with water anyway, and that water will keep it going while we just test the tractor out, but we will need to fix that. These pop on here. That's just our heater. Plunger that you pull out. So you want to heat the tractor, you just pull that out, hold it like that there for a little while. About 10 seconds. Back out again, and that's it. Tractor should fire up then. It's quite a simple little setup, but I just want to wire. We're not going to use it when we go to start the tractor, but rather than having the wires hanging loose, I'm just going to put them on, have them done. At least then when we do get it all hooked up properly, it's ready to go. I have the wires all connected, I think, in the right places. One thing that's left to do now is, before we put fuel in, let's actually see will it turn over. I'm actually very nervous. I'm very nervous about it. I don't know why. It's only a little small tractor, and I've worked on much bigger tractors before, but I'm very nervous because I've never done this before. Not on a tractor of this size, so I don't know why I'm nervous, but I am definitely nervous about it. So we're going to stick this in the tripod to see, will she turn over? No. What? Woo! This is music to my ears. Did you hear her pop? She even sounded like she was going to start with no fuel or nothing, and there must be a little bit of fuel lying inside. She wanted to start, and by God did she sound good. That's great. Let's get fuel into her, let's get her bled, let's get some water into her and get this girl running, because I know by the sound of it she wants to go. I'm going to turn this tap on now, I'm expecting fuel leaks. I'm expecting a few, but not enough to stop us from getting it going. Let's see now. We open this. Have we any fuel coming? I'm going nice and handy here first. Yeah. Right, at least we know we have fuel there. I really don't want to be opening this one, if I can help, because it's an awkward little bugger to get in. So I can open this one instead. I've got a little diesel drip there now, so I have. Maybe that's just from opening it. But anyway, we'll open this one. We'll pump through to see, is there any fuel coming? It's dry as a bone there, anyway. Okay, so I was getting no fuel there at all, right? I was pumping there for a long time and nothing was happening. So then I thought to myself, I wonder, do I have enough fuel in the tank? Because I didn't actually put a whole pile of fuel into it. And one thing I know is, this tank here, when you fill this will fill. And this is what I'm thinking now, I may be wrong. And this is your reserve. So if this tank runs low, this will be enough to get you home, if you get what I mean. If the tank's empty and you don't fill it enough, it'll not fill this tank. And then this tank will stay empty. And that's what I'm thinking. So what I did was, I'm after filling this tank full. I'm going to pump this again to see will it make any difference. And I'm hoping that I've got the right idea. There's probably people shouting at the camera here now saying, "Oh, agent, you're completely wrong." But look at this is the fun of it. I see a little eye leak there. Where is that coming from? Is that new pipe leaking? It bloody well is. That new pipe is leaking. But it means we're getting fuel now. And if I pump this, yeah, we have fuel. That's the problem. Problem solved. That's just a pity. That's a brand new pipe and that pipe's leaking. I'll catch that. Don't want to waste too much diesel either at the price of it. That's a pity now that thing is leaking like that. Must have rubbed again here or something. What I'm hoping for is to see some fuel coming out of this. It'll take a wee while because these both have to fill, but I'm hoping to see some fuel coming out of this here. That leak is too bad to keep working on it, and every time I'm plunging this, I'm feeling it's sucking in air, so I'm going to have to take this pipe off. So I have it marked roughly where the hole is. I'll take it off now, we'll take it down and have a quick look at it. So here's the pipe, and I don't know if you can pick that up on the camera, but you see that line? Can you see that line? It's split open. It's split from there to there. So there's very little I can do with that. I'll have to order a new pipe, but I'm not letting it stop me today because that could take 2 weeks nearly to come now at this stage, the way things are. So I'm bodging. I'm using a bit of the old line that I took off that was put in by the last owner, and I'm using that pipe again. Yes, it's a bodged looking job, but you know what? It'll let me out of a hole for the day, and that's all I wanted to do. And say it's only a temporary job. I know it doesn't look great, but that's just part of this kind of game here. You just have to make do with what you have just to get the thing started. You can always fix them things then after. At least we know then the tractor's running. A bit to start this tractor and move it around without having to push it around all the time. Because it may look small, but it's far from light. It'll just make working on it so much easier. A little bit of an old pump here. See fuel going through it. Pump's getting nice and solid now, so it was sucking in air. Definitely was. So we should see diesel of some sort coming out through this top filter now very shortly. There we go. Beauty. Our bodged repair has worked. It's not leaking fuel now. There we go. There's a Banjo Bolt. We'll pump that again now and diesel should flow out there fairly quickly. There we go. Next thing we have to do, which is just equally as important, we have to fill it with water and get the water through the whole system and just make sure that's right. It's going to leak a little bit, it only drips an odd time, but at least it'll keep the engine cool till we get the thing started. Now we're going to squeeze this pipe. Should bleed out the system. It's gone down there, as you can see, if you can see in there. That's filling up there now. We're ready to start this thing, and I don't know if it'll start. I have a feeling it will. By listening to the way it turned over, it's mad to pop. So we're ready to do that. I'm just going to have a quick glance around and make sure everything's all right on it, off camera. But I don't think I should be the one to start it. I think the boss man should be the one to start, because he was the first man to ever start one of these tractors on this farm, and he should be the first man to start this tractor on the farm. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to get him up. He doesn't talk an awful lot on the camera, and you have to understand, he is about to turn 89 now in another month's time, and I promised you from day one he'd be the man at the start. He's not going to be driving it today because the brakes are not set. He'll drive it on the next video. 100% guaranteed he'd do that. But he deserves to start this. Now you eventually get to meet my father. He's on the tractor. It's a long time. How long ago since you got on this tractor before, or one of these?
Later in the 70s.
Where did you buy your last 20?
I bought her in a place called Rowentrees.
Rowentrees?
Rowentrees.
Where was that?
On the top of King's Cut, going out the Dublin Road.
When did you buy your first 20?
Early 70s.
Early 70s. And what, you sold it in the late 70s? Very late 70s?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what did you do with it? What kind of work did you do in it then?
Making in hay and digging in the hay. Side delivery.
Side delivery rake. And did you have a plough?
I had a grow box.
You have a mowing bar?
I had a box.
A transport box? Oh, a mowing bar? You ever have it?
I had a mowing bar.
You were telling me here as well, you done the first 3 kids in our house would have done the school run on the same tractor as well. So there is a lot of work was done with it. You said you had a cab on your other one, did you?
I put a cab on. I put a cab after. Put her on.
Oh.
After I bought her.
And what was it? A good job? You thought?
It was a great job. Well, it was raining, you could school her.
Oh, just yeah.
Was inside.
Do you remember how much you paid for it in the 70s? Can you remember?
I don't really remember.
Oh, 500 or 600 pounds or?
No, I didn't even give that. 2 something, I think.
Pounds?
Yeah.
You wouldn't buy much nowadays for 200 pounds, but that's it. I think the best thing you can do now is, or just after explaining it here, actually, about where to put the gear stick and things, the starter, if you remember. Can you remember actually being on it compared to the last time? I know there's no bonnet on it.
I had a starter
wired into it.
Oh,
see.
And I only pressed it. I didn't have to use that. And she'd start with the other thing and put her on top gear and run her.
Oh, just yeah.
And she'd start.
Oh, you didn't use this?
No.
Yeah.
I got a different starter for her. Was
there many people that time with these tractors in this part of the country?
There was a certain amount, but the 1/3 of the people.
And what, did the people share tractors? Is that what they used to do?
Horses.
All horses before that?
All horses.
Very good, bit of history. Now, before this tractor leaks completely out of water, we don't want to delay too long on it. That very top frost plug is just not even in right. But yeah, time has come to start her. So I've just explained, so you have to push this button in here. Put your leg against it or your hand against it, whichever you want. And then this guy here comes over when you've that button in. Whenever you're ready. There you go, you nearly had her. Whoa, hold on a second. We've air leaking here. Like, just give it a go again. Alright, we've got to Whoa. That's normal, she's been sitting a long time. She's going to take a wee while to find herself. She's not running the best, but she's running, nevertheless. Wee rattle there, I don't know what it's up. What do you think of that? Starting to run better now. The longer she's running, she's starting to run a wee bit sweeter. That's horse started, and we see we have a couple of problems already. We have an eye leak, wherever that's coming from. I'm just behind the clock, I can fix that, that's just a wee seal. You're going to have wee problems like that, but she's ticking over there, absolutely lovely. She's smoky, she's definitely smoky. Be interesting to see will that clear up. Smile on my face, that was a great moment there, so it was. My kids are only home from school there, and they're after coming up and having a look as well, but you could see the smile just said it all. You know what, sometimes I used to look at it in the shed and say, are you worth the hassle at all? And not have enough time and all this kind of stuff that goes along with it. But when I see that reaction and see him up there and just see how happy he was, it's worth it 10 times over. That's what it is, because little moments like that, they're ones to treasure. That's one way of putting it. And you know, that brought him a lot of happiness, and it will bring him some happiness, because he's going to be driving it now in a few days' time, and I get all the little things that's wrong with it sorted. And yes, I'm sorry it took me so long, but anyway, that was the whole thing was about. I thought he was the right person to start it, because the project is all about him at the end of the day. I wasn't sure if it was ever going to happen, because he had a tough time there for a while, and yeah, I'm just glad that everything worked out, and we got to finish it off the way we wanted it. It doesn't matter about paint or whatever, it's all about that moment that you just witnessed there. A lot of people will understand what I mean. Now, before we end today's video, there's lots of stuff we have to sort out on it. It's by no means running perfect. First of all, that frost plug in there, that one there, I have to figure out how I'm going to get in at that to tip it in, because it's just not in straight. That's all that's wrong. It's sticking out in the far side. Oil leak coming from the oil pressure clock. My connection I put here is leaking, so I need to take off them copper washers and maybe get 2 felt washers. That inside washer, that's the one that's causing the problem. I can see it there myself. It's not fully sealing it. There's ever so slightly of a drip there, so we'll sort that out. We have a diesel leak right there. See it dropping? And that diesel leak is a pinhole right there, but it's not the only pinhole. There's another one there, and there's another one on the far side. So it gives me the impression this tank is not in good shape underneath. This guy in here is the governor in here. The throttle is not working right, so when it's throttled down completely, the tractor will tick over nice and easily. Give it a slight little bit of a move, the tractor just seems to have a mind of its own. It'll sit for a minute and then all of a sudden it'll rev way up in the air, and it just seems to be all over the place. Now there's a huge amount of play in there. If you can see it, it's hard to show you on camera. There's something not right. There's an awful lot of movement in there, and no, you can't buy that new anymore, so I'm wondering if there's anyone out there who repairs them, or who could go to town on that and fix that correctly, or maybe just give me a bit of advice, because I know this goes out the far side here and comes to here. So move the throttle again, you can see the mechanism there. So if there's anybody who could give me advice, and maybe who doesn't live too far away, could actually come up and have a look at it, that would be absolutely awesome. And see, can I just shine a light on it and see why it's doing that, because the throttle it's not responsive. When you rev it up, move it back, it's not dying down right. It's taking forever to get back to that idling position. So maybe there's someone who can help me with that. clutch feels very good. The gears is all doing what they should. So it's good to see we have no transmission problems there. I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it. Special moment, very special moment, and very enjoyable one, a very enjoyable day. If you enjoy the channel, you enjoy the content, give us a like, hit that sub button. Until the next one, we'll talk to you again.